Hey, and good morning, everybody. It's the Big Dave Show and Tell here. And we got a very special guest with us down there. 42 and a half years at B105, and he's got one more day to go after today. Duke Hamilton's with us.
Woo!
One more day.
One more day for Duke. That's it, man.
Real song, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is you played that before anybody else. No doubt about it. You
Maybe
remember
more
saying,
times than anybody else.
yeah, probably so. Probably so.
Yeah.
Well, Duke, after 42 and a half years, tomorrow is his last day on B105. So we wanted to do a special thing today to let people come in on Facebook and just say, hey, maybe ask you a question or just wish you well. But while those are getting going, let's just, what's it feel like to see the light's not just the end of the tunnel. It's almost here, buddy.
Well, it's something I thought about for a long time, of course, when you work that long. But the old saying is that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I feel like maybe I've worked a handful of days in 42 and a half years, and that's about it.
And a few of those probably came since COVID-19 hit, right?
Yeah, and there have been some hard times, hard days to be on the air, the shuttle explosions and all kinds of natural disasters and things that, you have to cope with. But it's been a good run, and for a lot of reasons, it's just time to, start the next chapter.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to put up some of these comments as we're rolling through here. That a lot of people want to wish you well and everything. Does anybody on the show here have anything you want to ask Duke about or say? Go right ahead.
I do. Duke, who is the coolest person you've met in all these years?
In all these years, I don't know. If I had to pick one, of course, out in the lobby, we got the picture of Clint Eastwood and me. That was way back a long time ago, and that was kind of cool. Meeting the big stars like Garth and Tanaya. One of the coolest people in the business, though, I think I've ever met is Vince Gill. Vince is just the epitome of a good human being, a very talented individual, very down to earth. So yeah, he was one. But there have been a lot. There have been many, and it's probably too many for me to remember right now in my feeble mind.
Cool.
Yeah. Go right ahead, Chelsea.
Well, I'm trying to think of how, what's amazing to me is you've done this so much and technology has changed so much and you just went through it seamlessly.
I don't know seamlessly. I'm old school. I, started in radio way back then before the age of computers and cell phones and all that stuff. So that tells you. But it has changed a lot. And I got to tell you that when we started getting into the digital platforms and different things in the studio, I back then was thinking, well, maybe this might be a good time to make an exit. But, you get used to it like anything else. It's like any other job. The technology changes, and you're right with it.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it's like for you because when I try to tell people who've just gotten into the radio business that newcomers here how we used to record phone calls on reel-to-reel tapes and use grease pencils and razor blades to cut and then splicing tape. What takes us now 15 seconds to edit a phone call to play back on the air used to take at least 15 minutes top, or at a minimum, I should say.
Oh, yeah.
And they look at you like you're like I might be talking in Mandarin Chinese or something. They have no idea what. And you can do that even more so than I can.
And it's so much easier now. And going back and thinking about it, and all the technology was changing. I think, my goodness, I'll never get used to this. This is just not the way I was taught or the way I learned. But you know what? I look back on it now and say, how in the world did we ever do that? Because now everything is so easy. You sit back and you can scratch your head once in a while and get up and go to the bathroom while something's going on and not have to worry about the tape breaking or something not working right. So you wonder how we did it before. It's so easy now.
Or finding MacArthur Park or something to play while you had to go to the bathroom, something long enough to
American
last. Yeah.
Garth Live.
Yeah.
Remember the Garth Live, Friends in Low Places?
Oh,
That
yeah.
was
Oh,
my
yeah.
go to the restroom song.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
That's funny.
Everybody-
Quick
What
little
was your?
story. When we were
Yeah,
down
go
on
ahead.
when we were down on 6th Street years and years ago, it was before the Procter and Gamble building is the towers were down there. There was a White Castle down there, just a couple blocks away, and it was always a challenge to see if we could put on a long enough record to go down off the 4th floor onto 6th Street, go down to White Castle and get some burgers and get back up there before the song.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
True story.
That is-
Those sliders.
So Duke, I want to
yeah,
know
gotta
while we're talking about that. I mean, because I got my start in rock radio for the most part, and everybody would think your bathroom song back then was Freebird, and it actually wasn't. If you really had to go, it was Foghat Slow Ride was the song you would put on. But what was it when you were having to actually play records for a country station? What was your bathroom song that you went to?
Gosh. Maybe. Oh my goodness, that's a good question. A lot of the songs back then, were like 2.5, 3 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Today you get longer songs that are 3.5, 4, even approaching 5 minutes. I can't think of one just off the top of my head, Dave, that we might have used. But I know there were some that.
Well, that's why I said MacArthur Park earlier, because my first job was at a little AM country station where we still played records. And that was my bathroom song there was, I don't remember who did it. You'll know that. MacArthur Park.
Richard Harris.
Or whomever.
Whatever.
Somebody did a country version of it, too. That's what we played.
Oh, maybe Waylon?
Maybe so. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it might have been Waylon, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
there's just
I
one,
gotta-
a lot of, I'll tell you one that I think that we used was Marty Robbins, El Paso.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it was like 4.5 minutes or something.
4.5 minutes
yeah,
long.
Yeah.
Well, Duke, just like us, you were here, and we've all basically watched the man up in the right corner there, Statman, grow up. I remember his first day when he came in as an intern, and you've no doubt seen people that you've worked with. I mean, 42 and a half years. Just think about Ashley wasn't even born yet, and neither was Stat when you started working on B105, which is amazing. How does that feel?
Well, it's cool because, like out at the concerts at Riverbend, people would come up to me or at a remote or something and say, I remember my mom and dad listening to you when I was just, 5 or 6 years old. We'd be going to the store in the car and they had you on. And now, I'm grown up, I'm married, I got kids of my own, and they're listening as we go to the store. So it's a very very fulfilling feeling, to know that you've kind of grown up with the audience, or the audience has grown up with you. I don't know if I've grown up.
Speaking of the Riverbend concerts, my first ever artist interview that I ever did was with Duke, with Morgan Wallen. And I was nervous.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. And then I'm sitting up there with Duke, who's been in this forever. And he's so professional and he's doing this so great, killing this interview. And I'm up there kicking my feet and scared to death. And then, I was like, I don't think Duke's going to ask to smell his mullet, so I might as well. I will never forget that, Duke. And I'm happy you were right there by my side.
Well, as I remember, Ashley, I was having trouble sending my reports back to the station on my stupid tablet, and you were there to kind of give me your phone and help me out there. So you helped me out too that night.
It was teamwork for sure.
Look at that.
Yeah. Well, you can wish your well wishes to Duke Hamilton here. 42 and a half years tomorrow, his last day on B105. I saw somebody pop up with something, Duke, you had mentioned. It said in the press release that you're looking forward to traveling with your lovely wife, Barb, there. So any ideas on what might be your first destination?
Well, yeah, because as soon as my sister-in-law, Barbara's sister, caught me into it, she says, okay, the thing you need to do is get on the beach. And what they always say, when you're out of work or done with work, you go to the beach. He lives in Melbourne, Florida, Betty does, and has invited Barbara and I to come down and stay as long as we want to. Of course, I don't know how long I'll be able to stay down there, but so that's probably in August sometime. We're going to go down there for a little while. We've got one of the trips on my bucket list. I've taken trips out of the country before, but a lot of the parts of this country I've never seen, and one of those is up east in New England. And so we're planning a trip maybe in the fall up to New England and going all the way up to Maine and that kind of thing, kind of driving down the coast.
Some fun stuff.
Yeah.
Planning a trip out west again. We went out west to Wyoming and Montana and into Western Canada years ago. We're kind of wanting to go back up that way. When the travel gets a little bit better and we're able to fly and that kind of thing.
Yeah, do that stuff.
Most of our
So
trips
that-
now are going to be driving trips. Yeah.
So, do you, when you look back on being, because I mean, there's so many country songs that have come out since you started doing this, and what help me with the math. So that you started in 1970, what?
Well, I started in
1977.
1970. Yeah. So
On B105.
August 23rd next month. Today's 1st of July. Yeah. So next month, August 23rd, will be 50 years to the day
That you started in radio.
It started in radio. Started here
Wow.
in December of '77 here.
What was the one song? Because I have, everybody has this. You heard a song and you went, "There's no way this is going to be a hit." But I mean, you've got great musical taste. You've been a music director of B105 for years. But what was the song that you were totally wrong on?
Oh
And
my gosh!
I'll go ahead and say when I heard Barefoot Blue Jean Night the first few times, I was like, this is not going to be a hit. And then I was totally wrong. And I love that song now. But I mean, that was one of my big swings and misses, and that's probably why you don't have me in the music meetings here. But that what was the one that sticks out for you that you thought, oh my gosh, this song proved me wrong?
Gosh, I don't know. And you know what? I've been wrong about a lot of them, guys. You sit and you listen to them, and a lot of it depends on your frame of mind when you're listening to some of these things and the time frame that you are listening into it. And you just kind of listen to that and say, well, that really doesn't fit what's going on now. That'll never be a hit. I had to pick one particular one though. Gosh, I'm having trouble here.
That's okay.
I'll take one from my past. Blake Shelton, Austin. I thought was like the dumbest song. I was like, get over the girl, quit leaving a message on the machine. You're pitiful. This is a dumb song. And little did I know, Blake Shelton, whoop. And he's a good friend of mine. I told him about that once.
Yeah.
I remember when Shania Twain's "Any Man of Mine" came out.
I can't think of one really that I there have been a lot that I thought, well, this is not going to happen, and I thought that about some artists too. Not haven't come off the top of my head here, but I thought some artists that have since gone on to make it big. I thought when they had their first few records, I thought, well, this person's never going to happen.
Luke Bryan struggled for a while in the beginning. He had a hit.
Yeah.
Even Luke Bryan struggled, but he bounced back.
Well,
Chelsea.
The business has changed so much over the years. Back when I first got in, you had artists on record labels, people like Ronnie Milsap, Crystal Gale, Willie Nelson, that were on a record label 10 years before they ever had a number one song, and that just doesn't happen today.
No,
you
it doesn't.
You don't never get a number one song right away. Or let's make room for the next person.
But
So,
I'll tell you something else that's different for you that it's kind of probably amazing to you. Back when you got into radio, maybe growing up outside of Nashville, I can probably name them all. There was only like 5 or 6 record labels that were really legitimate record labels that you had to deal with. RCA, Mercury, Curb, and
Capitol.
a handful of others. And if you weren't on one of those labels, chances are you weren't going to really get anywhere. And
That's right.
Nowadays, there's probably 50 record labels in Nashville that, some of them are small little things but hey, they've got Scotty McCreery, or they've got Luke Bryan, or not Luke Bryan, but they've got Jason Aldean, or they start their own labels. What's that been like to see that go on?
Well, yeah, there have been a lot of record companies that have popped up and gone away over the years. But yeah, you're right. Jason Aldean's a perfect example. Started out on a very small label, and it just goes to show you what what a mega talent can do for a small label like that.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some very interesting interactions with record companies for me over the years. Meeting new artists, of course, when they bring new artists through for their interviews and their meet and greets at radio stations when they're getting started. I remember Reba coming up down on 6th Street with her first husband, Charlie Battle. I remember George Strait coming through for his promo tour without a hat.
So you met George Strait and Reba when they were just starting out.
Yeah, absolutely. They were doing the radio promo tour.
Wow.
So yeah, and there's been a lot of those. And that's been one of the kind of cool things to see a lot of these careers develop, over the years. And some have, some haven't. And but yeah, it's been cool.
That's cool. Well, Duke, we're going to let you get to work because you got to get ready for your show, which is a lot easier to get ready for now than it was 20 years ago. Thanks to a little thing called the internet, it's a little bit easier to find topics to talk about now.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I just, thanks to everybody because, and we'll get into a little bit of this more tomorrow, but this is really not about me. It's about you, the listeners. It's about the people.
Here you go again.
Yeah, it is. And it really is. Because they're the ones that kept me here for 42 and a half years. And like I said, I've grown up with me. So it's a great feeling. It's a lot of these. There are several people that I've grown, listeners that I've grown close to and become friends with over the years. So that's just the kind of, I think, a tribute to our station, number one, in our format. Such loyal listeners and people that really want to get to know you as a person and have you listen to them as well. So it's been a good ride. It's been a good ride.
Well, we all love you. We're going to miss you seeing around here your big boom and laugh and everything else. But for God's sakes, if anybody's earned some time on the farm and on the beach, it's Duke Hamilton. So thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us today. And 2 days to go, buddy. 2 more days.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
man walking.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. We love you, Duke.
Love you too.
I'm gonna miss you. It's sad. I'm gonna miss you like you miss your little horses.
And I'm gonna end the broadcast, Duke. Technology isn't that great yet. It won't let me in there. There we go.